Am I the a-hole for pushing my dad away since my wife died because I have less understanding for how he handled being a young widowed father than I used to? I, 30 lost my wife 8 months ago. We have 3 kids, all under 7, together. The last several months have been incredibly rough for all of us, and there's been a lot of therapy to help us through it. My wife's death was unexpected and sudden. I loved her so much. I would 100% say she was the love of my life, someone I wanted to spend 50, 60 plus years with. We made it to 11 years together. Losing my wife has made me reflect a lot on the loss of my mom, who died when I was 5 years old. It also made my dad come to me for reassurance. The two of us have never had the strongest or healthiest relationship, and it was only after my wife's death that I put even more distance between us. My mom's death was just as unexpected and sudden as my wife's. She was hit by a car in the parking lot at work and died a few hours later. My dad didn't hold it together for me. 3 months later, he was bringing home women and sleeping with them. 14 months later, he was engaged and moving another woman in, expecting me to call her mom. That marriage has lasted, but they've separated 4 times over the years, and the years I lived with them were extremely toxic. He wanted me to call her mom. He tried to push a step-parent adoption through without even involving me. He got angry when I held on to my mom's memory. He told me I was suffocating him with her and that I was chasing off his wife by refusing to let go. His wife did everything she could to try to take over for my mom. It took me until my 20s to realize it wasn't just about her trying to be my mom, it was also, and maybe mostly, about her fear that my dad still loved my mom and wasn't over her. A fight between the two of them helped me see that. I never called his wife mom. I never loved her or saw her as anything other than a burden in my life who wanted to erase my mom. I see my dad in a similar way, and it's worse now that I've lost my wife. The thought of telling my kids, here's your new mom, forget the old one, makes me sick. The idea of dishonoring my wife by replacing her, and I don't mean by remarrying, just replacing her memory, sickens me. She will always be our kids' mom. She will always be my wife and my love. She'll always be a part of us, no matter what happens. It wasn't the same with my dad. He tried to erase every trace of my mom except for me, and even then, he tried to wash her out of me so it would be easier for him and his wife to move on. And 10 hours after my wife died, my dad brought up the topic. He told me he knew how I felt and that maybe now I'd understand why he made the choices he did, that I'd cut him some slack and be grateful he didn't wallow in misery. He said we could talk man to man and laugh about my childish reactions to everything he'd done. This was 10 hours after she died, and I didn't want to hear it. I kicked him out and didn't answer his calls or texts for weeks. When I finally did, he brought that same stuff up again, and I told him I didn't understand and didn't want to talk about it. I told him not to contact me again. He didn't take it well, but at least he stopped showing up. Instead, he just kept texting. Now he's started calling again, angry that I still don't understand. He tried to bring up how men have sexual needs, and I told him to leave me alone because I can't talk to him. He said losing my wife should have made me more compassionate, more understanding, and more ready to forgive him and his wife. I hung up before he could say more and blocked his number. I don't know if I'll keep it that way forever, but for now, yes. Am I the a-hole for pushing him away? For context, we didn't see or speak to each other very often over the last decade. He's met my kids, but he was never much of a presence in their lives, and his wife has never met them.